Before we dive in, a quick but important note. I am not a financial advisor. This video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. The information shared here reflects my personal research and experience. Please consult with a qualified financial professional before making any decisions about credit cards or your personal finances. Your financial situation is unique, and what works for one person may not work for another. All information is accurate as of the recording date, but credit card offers and perks change frequently, so always double-check the terms and conditions directly with the issuer. It's 10:47 p.m. at Chicago O'Hare. A voice crackles over the intercom, announcing what you've been dreading for the last 3 hours. Your connecting flight is canceled. A wave of collective groans echoes through the terminal. The gate agent, looking exhausted, points to a customer service line that's already snaking around the corner, filled with 100 other tired, angry travelers. They're all about to fight for a $10 meal voucher and a spot on a standby list for a flight that leaves in 18 hours. You watch them for a second, you feel a brief moment of panic, and then you smile. You pull out your phone, open a hotel app, and book a king-size bed at the nearby Hilton. You order an Uber, and on the way you decide you'll get room service, a burger and a beer, maybe even dessert. The total cost for the hotel, the ride, and the meal will be about $400, and you'll pay exactly zero of it. How? Because of a single, often ignored feature on the travel credit card in your wallet. That nightmare scenario is the exact reason this video exists. Because for far too long, we've been tricked into thinking that travel credit cards are just about one thing, earning points. We obsess over sign-up bonuses and transfer partners, which are great, but we completely miss the perks that act as an invisible suit of armor, protecting us from the chaos of modern travel. The truth is, the travel landscape is shifting under our feet. Airlines are stretched thinner than ever, flight cancellations are becoming the norm, and costs for everything are skyrocketing. The perks that were a nice little bonus back in 2022 are going to be non-negotiable survival tools by 2026. And that's the core promise of this video. We are going to cut through the marketing noise, the confusing terms, and the endless lists of benefits you never use. I am going to reveal the top 5 most powerful, most valuable, and frankly most life-saving travel credit card perks that you, as a US traveler, absolutely need to have on your radar for 2026. This isn't just another list of cards. This is a new framework for how to evaluate the plastic in your wallet. By the end of this presentation, you will know precisely which benefits turn a travel disaster into a minor inconvenience, which ones save you not just hundreds but potentially thousands of dollars, and which ones unlock a level of comfort and convenience you thought was reserved for the super rich. We're going to cover how to get that free hotel room when your flight is canceled, how to walk past the soul-crushing airport security line like a VIP, and even how to get your $1,000 phone replaced for free if you drop it while taking a selfie in front of the Eiffel Tower. So let's start with the big one, the perk that saved our traveler at O'Hare. I call it the travel apocalypse saver, but the banks call it something much more boring, trip delay and cancellation insurance. And in 2026, it is, without a doubt, the single most important perk a travel card can offer. We all know the feeling. The dread that builds as your flight time gets pushed back again and again and again. But here's what most people don't know. If your flight is delayed by a specific amount of time, usually 6 hours, but sometimes as little as 3, or requires an overnight stay, certain premium credit cards trigger a powerful insurance benefit. While everyone else is scrambling, this perk allows you to spend a reasonable amount on essentials, and the card issuer will reimburse you for it. We're talking about a hotel room for the night. We're talking about meals, not just a sad airport pretzel, but a real dinner. We're talking about transportation like a taxi or an Uber to that hotel, and even essential toiletries if your bag is stuck on the plane. The coverage limits are typically very generous, often up to $500 per ticket per trip. And this doesn't just cover you, it usually covers your spouse and your dependent children as well, even if you bought their tickets separately, as long as some portion of the trip was paid for with that card. Think about the power of that. A family of 4 gets stranded. That's not just one hotel room, it might be 2. That's 4 people who need to eat. A delay like that could easily cost a family over $1,000 out of pocket. With the right card, that cost evaporates. This is becoming more critical every single year. Airlines are flying planes at maximum capacity, meaning there are fewer empty seats to rebook you on. Staffing shortages persist, and increasingly severe weather events are causing system-wide shutdowns that ripple across the country for days. The airline's only legal obligation in most of these cases, especially weather delays, is to get you on their next available flight. They are not required to pay for your hotel, your food, or your comfort. They'll just wish you luck. Your credit card is the one that actually has your back. But here's where the real value comes in, understanding the fine print that most people ignore. To unlock this power, you have to be prepared. First, you must pay for at least a portion of your travel, like the flight taxes on an award ticket, with the specific card that carries this benefit. This is the number one mistake people make. They use the wrong card to book the flight and their coverage is void. Second, you need to know your card's trigger time. Is it a 6-hour delay or a 12-hour delay? Knowing this tells you exactly when you can stop waiting and start booking that hotel. And third, and this is the most important part, you have to become a documentation machine. When a delay happens, your new job is to collect evidence. You need a statement from the airline confirming the reason and length of the delay. You need to save every single itemized receipt for the hotel, the food, the Uber, everything. And you need to take screenshots of the original and new flight details. When you get home, you'll file a claim online, upload your documents, and a few weeks later, a statement credit appears on your account, wiping away the cost of that stressful night. I had a friend flying to a once-in-a-lifetime destination wedding in Italy. A mechanical issue on the first leg of his flight caused him to miss his international connection in New York. The airline's offer? A spot on a flight 24 hours later, which meant he would miss the entire wedding. He was devastated, but he had the right card. He immediately booked a new, last-minute ticket on a competing airline that same day. It cost him $1,200. He also had to pay for a taxi across town to a different airport. He documented everything. When he filed his claim under his card's trip cancellation and interruption insurance, which is the big brother to trip delay coverage, he was reimbursed for the full cost of that new flight. He made it to the wedding. The card didn't just save him money, it saved the entire trip. That is the kind of power we're talking about. It transforms you from a victim of the airline's problems into someone who is in control of their own destiny. So, perk number 1, the Travel Apocalypse Saver, is your ultimate safety net. It's the financial shield that protects you when the travel industry's fragile system inevitably breaks down. But that's all about fixing problems once they happen. What about avoiding the misery in the first place? What about the single most draining, frustrating, and time-consuming part of the entire airport experience? I'm talking about that long, winding, chaotic security line. And I'm talking about the incredible perk that lets you bypass it completely every single time. That's coming up next. Let's start with a simple question. What is your time worth? Is it worth $10 an hour? 50? 100? Now what is your sanity worth? What's the price you put on avoiding that heart-pounding stress of watching the clock tick down to your boarding time while you're stuck 50 people deep in a security line, frantically trying to remember if you took that water bottle out of your bag? For most of us, that feeling is pricelessly bad. The perk we're talking about, our number 5 pick for 2026, is the statement credit for TSA PreCheck or global entry. And it is the single greatest stress reducer in modern travel. Let's break this down. TSA PreCheck is that magical, mythical fast lane you see at airport security. You've seen the people in it. They look calm. They're not wrestling with their belts or pulling off their shoes. They're not unpacking their entire life's electronics onto gray plastic trays. Laptops stay in their bags. Light jackets stay on. They just walk through. The whole process takes maybe 3 minutes tops. Meanwhile, you're in the regular line, which feels more like a slow-motion disaster movie. That's TSA PreCheck. It's for domestic flights within the United States, and it transforms the single worst part of the airport into a complete non-event. But what about when you travel internationally? That's where global entry comes in, and it's the real heavyweight champion. Global entry gives you all the benefits of TSA PreCheck for your domestic flights. Plus, it lets you skip the massive customs and immigration lines when you're re-entering the United States from another country. I want you to picture this. You've just gotten off a 12-hour flight from Tokyo. You're jet-lagged, you're tired, you just want to get home. You walk off the jet bridge and into the immigration hall, and you see it. A sea of humanity. 1,000 other weary travelers snaking back and forth in a line that looks like it could take 2 hours to get through. Your heart sinks. But then you remember. You have global entry. You stroll over to a row of automated kiosks. You scan your passport, put your fingers on the scanner, it takes your picture, and a little receipt prints out. You take that receipt, walk past the entire line of people, hand it to an officer who gives you a nod, and you're through. You just bypassed a 2-hour wait in less than 2 minutes. That isn't an exaggeration. That is literally what happens. Feels like you have a superpower. So, how do credit cards play into this? Simple. The application fee for TSA PreCheck is around $78, and for global entry it's $100. Both are good for 5 years. Many premium travel credit cards, the ones we're talking about in this series, will give you a statement credit that completely covers this fee. The way it works is you use your eligible credit card to pay the application fee on the official government website. A few weeks later, a credit for that exact amount, say $100 for global entry, magically appears on your credit card statement, completely wiping out the charge. It's free. The card is literally paying for you to get this incredible benefit. Let me tell you a quick story. Before I got into this game, I was flying out of Orlando for a friend's wedding in Denver. I thought I gave myself plenty of time, 2 hours before my flight, but it was spring break. The security line was a monster. It wrapped around the entire check-in area. I stood there for an hour and a half, inching forward, watching families argue, hearing babies cry, smelling the faint aroma of desperation and Cinnabon. I was sweating, convinced I was going to miss my flight. I had to chug my expensive water bottle, unpack my laptop, my tablet, take my shoes off, my belt off. It was a humiliating, stressful mess. I made it to my gate, breathless, just as they were calling the final boarding group. Fast forward a year. I have my new travel card, I've used the Perk, and I have global entry. I'm flying out of LAX, notorious for its lines, on the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, one of the busiest travel days of the year. I walk up to security, and the regular line is a horror show. Easily an hour wait. I walk over to the TSA PreCheck lane. There are 3 people in front of me. I put my carry-on bag and my backpack on the belt, without opening either of them. I walk through the metal detector. I pick up my bags on the other side. The entire process from showing my ID to putting my shoes back on, wait, I didn't even have to take them off, took 90 seconds. I felt like I had cheated the system. I had so much extra time. I was able to sit down at a real restaurant, have a relaxing meal, and charge my phone before strolling to my gate. The difference wasn't just the time I saved. It was the complete and total elimination of stress. The entire tone of my travel day changed from frantic and chaotic to calm and controlled. And that is the true value of this perk. Yes, it saves you $100. But what it really does is buy back your time and your peace of mind over and over again for 5 straight years. If you fly just twice a year, and it saves you 30 minutes in line each way, that's 2 hours of your life you get back every single year. For 5 years, that's 10 hours. What would you pay for 10 extra hours of your life and 0 airport security stress? I guarantee it's more than the cost of the application fee. And here in 2026, there's even a third layer to this. It's a program called Clear. You've probably seen their pods at the airport. Clear is different. It's not government-run. It's a private company that uses biometrics, your fingerprints and your eyes, to verify your identity. Essentially, it lets you cut to the very front of the security line. You don't even have to show your ID or boarding pass to the TSA agent. You just scan your fingers, and a Clear ambassador walks you right up to the physical screening, ahead of everyone else. Now, here's the ultimate travel hack. You can combine Clear with TSA PreCheck. So you use Clear to skip the entire ID check line, and then because you also have PreCheck, they escort you directly to the front of the much shorter, much faster PreCheck screening line. It's the closest you can get to feeling like a celebrity with a private security detail at the airport. The combo is absolutely unbeatable. And while Clear is more expensive, some of the ultra-premium cards are now offering annual statement credits that completely cover the cost of a Clear membership as well. So you can potentially get both global entry and Clear for free, just by holding the right piece of plastic. People get intimidated by the application process, but it's incredibly simple. You fill out an online application that takes about 15 minutes. Then you schedule a short, 10-minute in-person interview at an enrollment center, which are often located inside airports. For the interview, you just show up, they take your photo, scan your fingerprints, ask you a few basic questions, and you're done. It's unbelievably easy for the amount of value you get. This perk is number 5 on our list because it's the gateway. It's the first step in transforming your travel experience from an ordeal to be endured into a pleasure to be enjoyed. It fundamentally changes your relationship with the airport. So you've done it. You've used your card's perk, you've breezed through security in under 3 minutes, and you're now in the terminal. You look at the departures board, and your flight is delayed by an hour. Or maybe it's on time, but you have 90 minutes to kill because security was so fast. What do you do now? You're faced with a sea of crowded gates, uncomfortable metal chairs, and a food court charging $9 for a bottle of water. You could find a spot on the floor next to an outlet and doom scroll on your phone. Or, what if I told you there's a secret world hidden inside the airport? A world with comfortable armchairs, free high-speed Wi-Fi, complimentary food, and even an open bar where every drink, from top-shelf liquor to premium espresso, is completely free. This isn't a fantasy. It's our number 4 perk, and it's waiting for you just past security. This oasis is the world of airport lounges, and gaining access is the 4th most powerful travel perk you can unlock in 2026. Forget perching on a sticky chair at Gate B47, fighting for the last working power outlet. Forget paying $9 for a bottle of water and $25 for a sad pre-packaged sandwich. The moment you scan your boarding pass and your credit card, you step into a different reality. So how does it work? Premium travel cards like the Platinum Card from American Express or the Chase Sapphire Reserve come with a complimentary membership to a global lounge network. The most common one is Priority Pass, which grants you access to over 1,300 lounges worldwide. Think of it as a universal key that unlocks quiet spaces in almost every major airport you can imagine. But it doesn't stop there. The truly elite cards offer something even better: access to their own proprietary lounges. This is where the game really changes. American Express has its legendary Centurion lounges, which are less like waiting areas and more like 5-star restaurants and cocktail bars that just happen to be in an airport. We're talking about menus designed by James Beard award-winning chefs, extensive wine lists, and even amenities like shower suites and workspaces. Capital One is rapidly expanding its own network of stunning Capital One lounges, and Chase has the Sapphire lounges, which are quickly gaining a reputation for incredible design and food. Now you might be thinking, this sounds nice, but is it really worth the card's annual fee? Let's break down the cold, hard math. A single day pass to a basic airport lounge, if they even sell them, can cost anywhere from $50 to $75 per person. Let's say you and a partner are traveling. Before you've even had a bite to eat, you're looking at a bill of $150 just to get in the door. Inside that lounge, you might have 2 cocktails each. At airport prices, that's another $80. You both have a decent meal. That's another $60 to $70. Add in a couple of coffees and some bottled water for the plane, and you've easily spent over $300 on a single layover. With the right credit card, that entire experience costs you nothing. If you take just 2 round-trip flights a year with a layover, the lounge access alone can completely justify the annual fee of a premium card. It's not just a perk, it's a profound shift in your travel budget and your travel sanity. Imagine this scenario. You're flying home for the holidays. Your flight gets delayed by 3 hours due to a snowstorm. The main terminal is a sea of frustrated people, crying babies, and overflowing trash cans. It's loud, it's stressful, and every seat is taken. That's hell. Now, picture the alternative. You get the delay notification on your phone, you shrug, and you walk to the lounge. You find a comfortable leather armchair, order a complimentary old-fashioned, and stream a movie on the free lightning-fast Wi-Fi. You have a hot meal. Maybe you even take a shower to refresh before your new departure time. The 3-hour delay goes from being a travel nightmare to a quiet, productive, and even enjoyable pause. This isn't just about saving money on food and drinks. It's about buying yourself peace of mind. It's about transforming dead, stressful time into a valuable part of your vacation. And here's the secret for 2026 and beyond. This perk is becoming more valuable every single day. As airports get more crowded and prices for everything inside them continue to skyrocket, the refuge of a lounge becomes more essential. At the same time, card issuers are starting to tighten the rules. Where many cards used to offer unlimited guests, now most limit you to 2. Some are even restricting access during peak times to prevent overcrowding. This might sound like a negative, but it's actually a good thing for cardholders. It means the lounges are becoming more exclusive, less crowded, and the experience is being preserved for those who hold the key. Having a card that guarantees you and your family access is becoming a true status symbol and a practical necessity for a civilized travel experience. Furthermore, the definition of a lounge is expanding. Priority Pass, for example, has partnered with dozens of airport restaurants, bars, and even spas. With this benefit, you can walk into a participating restaurant, show your card, and get a credit, usually around $28 per person, taken directly off your bill. So even if there isn't a traditional lounge in your terminal, you and a guest can enjoy a $56 credit towards a proper sit-down meal. It's an incredibly flexible and valuable aspect of the perk that many people don't even know exists. So, perk number 4 isn't just about free champagne. It's about insulation from chaos. It's about turning the worst part of travel, the airport wait, into one of the best. It's about starting your vacation the second you clear security, not the second you land at your destination. The value is immense, both financially and emotionally. But as incredible as it is to upgrade your experience on the ground, what about your experience in the air? What if you could take the money you'd normally spend on a cramped economy ticket and use it to fly in a seat that converts into a fully flat bed? What if you could arrive at your destination refreshed and ready to explore, instead of feeling like you just spent 8 hours folded into a pretzel? This leap from comfort on the ground to unimaginable luxury in the sky brings us to our number 3 perk. This is the one that separates casual travelers from masters of the game. This is the perk that lets you fly in business or first class for pennies on the dollar, and it's called transfer partners. Think of your credit card points, your Amex points, your Chase points like cash. But it's a special kind of cash that has a different value depending on where you spend it. If you spend it at the credit card company's own store, their travel portal, you get a fixed value, maybe 1 cent per point, or if you have a premium card, 1.5 cents. That's okay. It's simple. It's easy. But it's a sucker's bet. Because right next to that store is a series of magic doors. These are the transfer partners. And behind each door, the value of your points can double, triple, or even 10x. Let me make this real. Let's say you've saved up 200,000 Chase Ultimate Rewards points. You're feeling great. You go to the Chase travel portal, and you look for a business class flight from New York to Paris for a special anniversary trip. You find one. The cash price is $3,000. Since you have the Chase Sapphire Reserve, your points are worth 1.5 cents each in the portal. So that $3,000 flight will cost you 200,000 points. All of them gone. For a one-way ticket. You might think, well, that's the price of luxury. But it's not. It's the price of not knowing the secret. Now let's play this a different way. You have the same 200,000 points. But instead of going to the Chase store, you open one of those magic doors. You see that one of Chase's transfer partners is Air France/KLM's loyalty program, called Flying Blue. You go to the Flying Blue website, you search for the exact same flight on the exact same day, and you find it. But here they don't price it based on the cash cost. They have a fixed award chart. And the price is 55,000 miles. So you go back to your Chase account, you click transfer points, you move 55,000 points over to your Flying Blue account, the transfer is almost instant, and you book the flight. Stop and think about what just happened. In the first scenario, your trip cost 200,000 points. In the second, it cost 55,000. You just saved 145,000 points. You have enough left over to book the return flight. And probably another round trip for next year. Same flight, same seat, same champagne. One person paid 4 times as much as the other. The only difference was knowledge. That is the power of transfer partners. It is the single biggest cheat code in the world of travel. So how does it work? The big 4 flexible point currencies in the US, that's American Express membership rewards, Chase Ultimate Rewards, Capital One miles, and Citi Thank You points, have all built partnerships with a host of airline and hotel loyalty programs around the world. They've basically created a network. Your Amex points aren't just Amex points. They can become Delta Sky Miles, or Air Canada Aeroplan points, or Emirates Skywards miles. Your Chase points can become United Mileage Plus miles, or Southwest Rapid Rewards points, or World of Hyatt points. This is where people get intimidated. They think, oh my God, I have to learn 20 different airline programs? I don't have time for that. You don't. You only need to understand one core concept. The 3 major airline alliances. These are Star Alliance, Oneworld, and SkyTeam. Think of them as massive teams of airlines that all work together. If you have miles with one airline on the team, you can use them to book flights on almost any other airline on that same team. This is the force multiplier. Let's go back to Chase. One of its best partners is United Airlines. United is part of Star Alliance, the biggest alliance in the world. So when you transfer your Chase points to United, you're not just getting the ability to fly United. You're getting access to book flights on Lufthansa to Germany, on Swiss Air to the Alps, on ANA to Japan, on Turkish Airlines to Istanbul, on Singapore Airlines. You get the idea. You've unlocked the globe. Same thing with Amex. You can transfer your points to British Airways. British Airways is in the Oneworld Alliance. That means your Amex points can now get you a seat on American Airlines, Alaska Airlines, Qantas to Australia, Cathay Pacific to Hong Kong, or Japan Airlines. Suddenly, your one bucket of credit card points isn't just one currency. It's 24 currencies at once. You have the ultimate flexibility to find the best deal, no matter where you want to go. This is how you find what we in the points world call sweet spots. These are specific routes or airlines where the number of points required is shockingly low compared to the cash price. Let me give you some of the most legendary examples that are still amazing values heading into 2026. Want to fly to Spain? Don't book through the portal. Instead, transfer your Chase or Amex points to Iberia Plus, which is the airline of Spain. You can fly business class from Boston, New York, or Chicago to Madrid for as little as 34,000 points one way. 34,000. People spend more than that on a domestic coach ticket. The cash price for that seat is often over $3,000. That means you're getting almost 9 cents per point in value. Compare that to the 1.5 cents you got in the portal. It's not even in the same sport. How about that dream trip to Japan? One of the holy grails of award travel is booking business or first class on All Nippon Airways, or ANA. It's consistently ranked one of the best flying experiences in the world. You could book this through the Chase portal for maybe 800,000 points round trip. It's an absurd number. Or you could transfer your Amex points to Virgin Atlantic. Now this sounds weird, right? Using a British airline to book a Japanese flight? But remember the alliances and partnerships. Virgin has a special partnership with ANA, and their award chart is incredible. You can book that same round-trip business class flight from the US to Tokyo for as little as 95,000 points. Total. Round trip. That's less than some people pay for a one-way flight to Florida. It is, without a doubt, one of the best deals in travel, period. This even works for domestic flights. Let's say you want to fly from New York to Miami on American Airlines. If you look at the price on American's own website, it might be 25,000 miles. But remember, American is in the One World Alliance with British Airways. So you can transfer your Chase or Capital One points to British Airways, and then use your British Airways Avios points to book that exact same American Airlines flight. Because of the way their chart is structured for short-distance flights, that seat might only cost you 9,000 points. Same plane, same seat, same everything, but you paid almost a third of the price. Now is there a catch? Of course. The catch is that this takes a little bit of work. Not every seat on every flight is available to be booked with points. This is called award availability, and it's the currency of this game. The airlines only release a certain number of seats for their partners. That means you need to have some flexibility in your dates, and you need to do a little bit of searching. You can't just decide on Tuesday you want to fly to Paris in first class on Wednesday and expect to find a seat for a good price. But if you plan a few months in advance, the possibilities are staggering. The skill is learning how to search for this availability. You have to search on the airline partner's website, not on Google Flights. You have to be willing to connect in Frankfurt or Amsterdam to get the best deal. But the payoff for this little bit of learning is immense. It is the difference between taking one economy vacation every 3 years and taking 2 business class trips every single year, all paid for with points you earn from your regular, everyday spending. It fundamentally changes your relationship with travel. It makes the entire world feel accessible. Transfer partners turn your points from a simple discount coupon into a key that unlocks a hidden, much cheaper, and far more luxurious travel universe. It is by far the most valuable perk in this entire game. But flying there is only half the equation. Once you land in that lie flat bed, refreshed and ready to explore, you need a place to stay. And our number 2 perk ensures that your home base on the ground can be just as spectacular as your castle in the air, often without costing you a single dollar. This is the world of hotel free night certificates. And it is, without a doubt, the single easiest way to guarantee you get massive tangible value from your travel credit card year after year. It's the perk that single-handedly justifies the annual fee on more than a dozen different cards. Think about it. You pay your $95 annual fee, and a few weeks later, a voucher for a free hotel night, often worth $200, $300, or even $400, magically appears in your loyalty account. That's not just a good deal, that's an arbitrage opportunity. You are literally trading $95 for a $300 experience. You win the game the moment you sign up. But let's break down what this actually looks like in 2026, because the game has changed and it's gotten so much better. A few years ago, a free night certificate was a rigid tool. You had a certificate for a Category 4 hotel, and you could only book a Category 4 hotel. It was black and white. Today, it's a flexible, powerful currency. Most major hotel programs, we're talking Marriott, Hilton, Hyatt, IHG, issue these certificates through their co-branded credit cards. They typically come with a points cap. For example, a card like the Chase IHG Rewards Premier, which has a $99 annual fee, gives you a certificate valid for a night costing up to 40,000 IHG points. The World of Hyatt card, with its $95 fee, gives you a certificate for a Category 1 through 4 hotel. The Marriott Bonvoy Boundless, same $95 fee, gives you a certificate worth up to 35,000 Bonvoy points. Now you might hear 35,000 points and think, what does that even get me? A roadside motel next to a gas station. And that's where the magic lies. 35,000 Marriott points can get you a night at the Courtyard in downtown Nashville on a random Tuesday. Or it can get you a night at the Renaissance Tuscany Il Siaco Resort and Spa, a stunning property overlooking the hills of Tuscany in Italy. The exact same certificate. One experience is forgettable. The other is the centerpiece of a dream vacation. The value is not in the certificate itself but in how you use it. And here's the critical upgrade for 2026. The top off. This is the single biggest evolution in free night certificates, and it changes everything. Programs like Marriott and IHG now allow you to combine your certificate with your own points. Let's go back to that 35,000 point Marriott certificate. You've been dreaming of going to Kyoto, Japan during the stunning cherry blossom season. You find an incredible hotel, the Chapter Kyoto, a tribute portfolio hotel perfectly located. But during peak season, a free night costs 48,000 points. In the old days, your certificate was useless. You were 13,000 points short, so you had to pay the full astronomical cash price. But now, you simply apply your 35,000 point certificate and top it off with 13,000 of your own points. Boom! You just secured a $600 a night room in one of the most beautiful cities in the world during its busiest season for a handful of points and a certificate you got from a $95 credit card. That is the definition of a travel hack. This top-off feature transforms these certificates from a simple coupon into a massive, flexible discount voucher on almost any hotel in the portfolio. It opens up a world of possibilities that simply didn't exist before. Let's look at the different tiers. On the entry level, you have those $95 to $99 cards. Their certificates are your workhorses. They're perfect for extending a weekend trip, for airport hotels on a long layover, or for that one expensive night on a road trip. Think about driving the Pacific Coast Highway. Hotels in places like Monterey or Santa Barbara can be insanely expensive. Using a free night certificate there saves you $400 cash that you can now spend on incredible meals or experiences. You've effectively paid your $95 annual fee for 4 years with one single redemption. Then you have the mid-tier. Cards like the American Express Hilton Honors Surpass or the Marriott Bonvoy Bevy. The annual fees are higher, maybe $150 to $250, but the certificates are often less restricted. The Hilton cards, for example, offer a free night certificate after you meet a certain spending threshold, and it's valid at almost any Hilton property in the world on a weekend night. This is where you can start to really level up. You're not just saving money on a standard hotel. You're staying for free at a Waldorf Astoria, a Conrad, an LXR hotel. These are aspirational properties. Imagine using a certificate to stay at the Conrad Bora Bora Nui in an overwater bungalow. That's a $2,000 a night value earned from a credit card. And that brings us to the top tier, the ultra-premium cards. The Hilton Honors Aspire from American Express and the Marriott Bonvoy Brilliant, also from Amex. These cards command annual fees of $550 and $650 respectively. And for many people that sounds insane, until you look at the certificates. The Aspire card gives you a free night certificate every single year, just for holding the card. No spend requirement. And it's valid on a weekend at almost any Hilton. The Bonvoy Brilliant gives you an 85,000 point certificate. With the ability to top it off by 15,000 points, you can now book a hotel that costs up to 100,000 points a night. Let me paint a picture for you. 100,000 Marriott points. That gets you a night at the St. Regis, New York, a landmark hotel on 5th Avenue where rooms regularly cost $1,500. It gets you the Ritz-Carlton Bachelor Gulch, a ski-in ski-out resort in Colorado during peak ski season. It gets you Al Maha, a luxury collection desert resort and spa in Dubai, where your private villa has its own plunge pool overlooking the sand dunes. These are not just hotel stays, they are life experiences. And you are accessing them because you have the right piece of plastic in your wallet. That $650 annual fee doesn't seem so crazy when it's your key to a $1,500 experience, year after year. The ultimate strategy, the one that seasoned travelers are using in 2026, is to build a portfolio of these certificates. They'll hold a Hyatt card, a Marriott card, and an IHG card. They plan their vacations around where they can string their free nights together. A 3-day weekend in Washington, D.C.? Night 1 is at the Grand Hyatt using the Hyatt certificate. Night 2 is at the Kimpton Hotel Monaco, using the IHG certificate. Night 3 is at the JW Marriott, using the Marriott certificate. A 3-night trip that would have cost over $1,000 in hotels now costs them nothing but the annual fees on their cards, which, as we've established, they've already gotten back in value. This perk is about so much more than a free room. It's a forcing function. It's a built-in reminder, a yearly nudge from your credit card company, telling you to get out there and explore. It's a license to take that trip you've been putting off. It turns an expensive city into an affordable destination. It transforms a standard vacation into a luxurious escape. It's the closest thing to a guaranteed profit in the entire world of travel. So we've covered getting there in style and staying for free. We've essentially built the perfect vacation skeleton. But what if I told you there's one perk that underpins all of this? A perk so fundamental that without it, business class flights and free hotel nights remain a pipe dream for 99% of people. It's the engine that powers the entire travel hacking machine. And that brings us to the number 1 most powerful travel credit card perk of them all, the sign-up bonus. Or as it's more commonly known, the welcome offer. This isn't just another perk on a list. This is the nuclear core of the entire travel rewards universe. It is the great accelerator, the one-time massive infusion of points or miles you receive for opening a new card and meeting a minimum spending requirement in the first few months. It is, without a single shred of doubt, the fastest way to travel the world for nearly free. Forget earning 2x points on dining or 3x on travel for a moment. Those are fantastic for long-term accumulation, like putting a few dollars into a savings account each week. The welcome bonus is like your rich uncle handing you a check for $50,000 and saying, "Go have an adventure." It's the difference between walking to your destination and taking a private jet. It's a paradigm shift. Let me paint a picture for you. A story I see play out 1,000 times a year. Let's talk about Mark and Sarah, a couple in their late 30s from Ohio. They're celebrating their 10th wedding anniversary in 2026. Their dream, the one they whisper about after the kids are in bed, is to fly business class to Japan to see the cherry blossoms. So one night they decide to actually price it out. They go to Google Flights. They plug in their home airport to Tokyo. They click the business class filter, and their hearts sink. The screen flashes back a number that feels like a typo. $14,800 for 2 tickets. That's more than their car is worth. It's a down payment on a house in some places. The dream instantly evaporates, feels completely, utterly out of reach. They close the laptop, defeated, and resign themselves to a nice dinner downtown for their anniversary instead. But then a few weeks later, a friend tells them about this world of travel hacking. He explains the concept of a welcome bonus. He shows them a card, let's call it the Chase Sapphire Celestial, a hypothetical premium card in 2026. This card is offering a welcome bonus of 100,000 ultimate rewards points after spending $6,000 in the first 3 months. Mark is skeptical. $6,000 in 3 months? We don't spend that much. But his friend breaks it down. Their mortgage is $2,200 a month, which they can't pay with a card. But their groceries are $800 a month. Their car insurance is $900 every 6 months, and the payment is due next month. They have a new water heater they need to buy for $1,200, plus gas, cell phone bills, streaming services, and a few dinners out. They realize they can easily meet that $6,000 spent in 3 months without spending a single dollar they weren't already going to spend. The key wasn't to spend more, it was to channel their existing, planned spending onto this one new card. So they take the leap. Mark applies for the card and is approved. They put every single possible expense on it. Their groceries, their gas, that new water heater, their daughter's gymnastics lessons, their property tax bill. They are meticulous, and they pay the balance in full at the end of each month, a cardinal rule of this game. 2.5 months later, they hit the spending threshold. And a few days after their statement closes, it happens. Mark logs into his Chase account, and his heart skips a beat. There it is, sitting in his account, 100,000 ultimate rewards points. It looks like a bank error. Feels like magic. But here's where the real alchemy begins. They don't just redeem those points for cash back at 1 cent per point, which would be $1,000. No, they're smarter than that. They learned about transfer partners, our perk number 2. They log into their airline loyalty program, in this case Virgin Atlantic Flying Club, which is a partner of Chase. Virgin Atlantic has a sweet spot for booking flights on their partner, ANA, one of the world's best airlines. They find the availability, 2 round-trip, business class seats from Chicago to Tokyo. The cost? 95,000 points per person. They're short. But wait, Sarah applies for the exact same card. She meets the minimum spend over the next 3 months. Now they have another 100,000 points. They pool their Chase points, a feature allowed for household members, and now have a war chest of over 200,000 points. They make the transfer. The Chase points instantly become Virgin points. They book the flights. 2 round-trip, lie-flat business class seats on ANA to Japan during cherry blossom season. The total cost? 190,000 points and about $550 in taxes and fees. Let's just pause and absorb that. The $14,800 dream trip that was completely impossible just a few months ago? They just booked it for $550. They leveraged the single most powerful tool in the travel world. 2 sign-up bonuses, to create an experience that would have otherwise taken them a decade to save for. That is the power we are talking about. It's not a coupon. It's a life-changing unlock. Now let's break down the mechanics, because this isn't fairy dust. It's a system. The welcome bonus is a marketing expense for the bank. They are acquiring a new high-quality customer, someone with a good credit score who they hope will be a customer for life. They are willing to offer this massive front-loaded incentive to get you in the door. The formula is always the same. Spend X dollars within Y months of opening the card, and you will receive Z points or miles. By 2026, we expect these offers to become even more competitive and tiered. You might see offers like, spend $5,000 in 3 months to get 80,000 points, but if you spend $10,000 in 6 months, we'll give you 120,000 points. Banks are getting smarter about incentivizing the kind of customer they want. But I know what you're thinking, because everyone has the same initial fears. The first is what Mark thought. I can't meet that minimum spend without going into debt. This is the biggest misconception. The golden rule is to never, ever spend money you wouldn't have otherwise spent just to earn a bonus. That defeats the entire purpose. The trick is timing. You apply for a card when you know you have a large planned expense coming up. Maybe property taxes are due, or you're paying for a wedding, or you need to buy new appliances. You use the card for that big purchase, meet a huge chunk of the spend requirement instantly, and pay it off immediately with the cash you had already saved. The second big fear is the credit score. Won't opening all these new cards destroy my credit? This is a myth that keeps so many people on the sidelines. Let's shatter it right now. When you apply for a new card, 2 things happen. You get a hard inquiry, which can temporarily dip your score by a few points, typically less than 5. And your average age of accounts goes down, which is a minor factor. However, several positive things also happen. Your total available credit goes up, which lowers your credit utilization ratio, a much more important factor in your score. And you add another on-time payment to your history each month. Think of your credit score less like a fragile vase that shatters if you touch it, and more like a muscle. A hard inquiry is like one workout session. It might be a little sore for a day, but it makes the muscle stronger in the long run. The vast majority of people who play this game responsibly, paying their bills on time and in full, see their credit scores increase over time, often into the 800s. The sign-up bonus is the launch pad. It's the initial burst of fuel that gets your rocket off the ground. Without it, you're just stuck in the atmosphere, slowly accumulating points from your everyday spending. With it, you can reach escape velocity and go anywhere in the solar system you want. It's the single biggest lever you can pull to dramatically change your travel life, starting today. But getting that massive pile of points, as Mark and Sarah did, is only half the battle. In fact, earning the points is the easy part. The real skill, the part where most people go wrong, lies in what you do next. There is a catastrophic, value-destroying mistake that thousands of people make the second those 100,000 points hit their account. A mistake that can turn a $5,000 travel value into just a few $100s of cash. And avoiding it is the key to unlocking true luxury. The mistake is cashing out. It's clicking that seductive little button that says redeem for statement credit or get cash back. Feels like free money because in a way it is. But it's the equivalent of finding a winning lottery ticket for $1 million and trading it in for a $500 gift card. It's a catastrophic failure to understand the true nature of the asset you're holding. When you redeem 100,000 points for cash, you'll typically get a flat value of 1 cent per point. So 100,000 points becomes $1,000. Not bad, right? It pays for a month of groceries, maybe a car payment, but you've just voluntarily lit $4,000 on fire. Because the real secret, the engine room of the entire travel rewards universe, is our number 2 perk for 2026. Airline and hotel transfer partners. This is the single most important concept you will ever learn in this game. It's the dividing line between people who get a free domestic flight once every few years and people who fly lie-flat business class to Japan for less than the cost of a coach ticket to Florida. So what are they? Imagine your credit card points, your Chase points, your Amex points aren't a fixed currency like the dollar. Instead, imagine they are a master key. A key that can unlock dozens of different treasure chests. Each treasure chest is a different airline or hotel loyalty program, like United Mileage Plus, or Air Canada Aeroplan, or World of Hyatt, or Singapore Airlines KrisFlyer. When you cash out your points, you're just using that master key to open a little box with $1,000 in it. But when you use a transfer partner, you're using that same key to unlock a chest overflowing with gold. You are converting your flexible, bank-owned points into a specific airline's or hotel's own currency, their miles or points. And here's the magic. You often do it at a 1-to-1 ratio. 1 credit card point becomes 1 airline mile. Why is this so powerful? Because airlines and hotels don't price their award tickets and free nights based on a simple cash-to-points formula. They have what are called award charts and dynamic pricing that create incredible sweet spots, inefficiencies in the market that you can exploit. Let me make this crystal clear with an example that will change the way you see travel forever. Let's say your dream is to fly from New York to Paris in business class. You want the champagne when you board, the seat that turns into a fully flat bed, the multi-course meal, the whole 9 yards. You go to Google Flights and you see the cash price, $6,500. For most of us, that's a non-starter. That's a down payment on a car. So you think, I'll use my points. You log into your credit card's travel portal. The portal treats your points just like cash, usually at that same 1 cent per point valuation, maybe 1.25 cents if you're lucky. To book that same $6,500 flight, you'd need a staggering 650,000 points. That would take the average person years, maybe a decade, to earn. Feels impossible. This is where the amateur gives up. But the pro knows about transfer partners. The pro knows that their credit card points can be transferred directly to an airline program like Air France/KLM's Flying Blue. They go to the Flying Blue website, and they search for the exact same New York to Paris flight, but this time they click Book with Miles. And what they find is breathtaking. That very same seat, on the very same plane on the very same day, is available for 55,000 Flying Blue miles plus about $200 in taxes and fees. Let that sink in. Not 650,000 points. 55,000. You log into your credit card account, you link your Flying Blue account, which is free to create, and you transfer exactly 55,000 points. In most cases, the transfer is instant. Your credit card points vanish and 55,000 Flying Blue miles appear. You then book the flight. You have just executed the single greatest arbitrage in modern travel. You took an asset, 55,000 points, that the bank told you was worth $550 in cash, and you redeemed it for an experience that the airline was selling for $6,500. You didn't get 1 cent per point of value. You got nearly 12 cents per point. You achieved a 1,200% return on your points. That is the power of transfer partners. That is the entire game. This isn't some rare, once-in-a-lifetime trick. This is how the system is designed to be used by those in the know. I've done this dozens of times. Flying to Asia in a private suite that would have cost $12,000. Staying in a 5-star Park Hyatt in Kyoto for 5 nights. A stay that would have cost over $8,000. Using points that would have been worth less than $2,000 in cash. And this isn't just for luxury travel. It's a lifesaver for economy flyers too. Have you ever had a family emergency or a last-minute trip where a simple flight from Chicago to Los Angeles suddenly costs $900? In the credit card portal, that's 90,000 points. But if you transfer your points to a domestic airline partner, you can often find that exact same last-minute seat for a fixed 15,000 miles. You save a fortune when cash prices are sky-high. It's an incredible insurance policy against expensive travel. It's how you take a family of 4 to Hawaii. A trip that might cost $4,000 in airfare, or 400,000 points in the portal, can often be booked for 160,000 points or less by transferring to the right airline partner. Suddenly, an expensive family vacation becomes dramatically more attainable. Now there are 3 main transfer partner ecosystems in the US that you need to know about. There's Chase Ultimate Rewards, American Express Membership Rewards, and Capital One Miles. Each program has a different slate of airline and hotel partners. Chase is the only one that partners with Hyatt, which is incredible for hotel stays. American Express has the most airline partners, offering unparalleled flexibility. Capital One has been catching up fast, with great partners and unique transfer bonuses. The key is not to just get any travel card. It's to get a card within the ecosystem whose partners fly from your home airport and go to the places you want to visit. An American Airlines flyer living in Dallas gets less value from a card that only partners with Delta and United. A Hyatt loyalist needs a card that earns Chase Ultimate Rewards. This is about being strategic. Understanding transfer partners is like being given a cheat code for travel. It requires a little bit of learning. You have to be willing to spend an hour or 2 learning how to search for award availability on airline websites. But the payoff is almost unbelievable. You leave the world of 2% cashback and enter the world of 10%, 15%, or even 20% returns on your everyday spending, redeemed for experiences that would otherwise be out of reach. That sign-up bonus we talked about? Those 100,000 points? That's not $1,000. That's a round-trip business class ticket to Europe. It's 2 round-trip economy tickets to the Caribbean. It's a week at a luxury resort in Mexico. It's whatever you want it to be, as long as you don't fall for the trap of cashing it out. So we have the massive sign-up bonus to kickstart our journey. And we have the transfer partners to multiply the value of those points into something extraordinary. But how do we keep the momentum going? How do we earn points not just when we sign up for a card but every single day at a rate that's 2, 3, even 5 times faster than normal? Because earning 1 point per dollar is the slow road to free travel. The fast track involves strategically targeting our spending in a way that turns every trip to the grocery store, every dinner out, and every tank of gas into a significant deposit into our travel fund. And that brings us to our number 3 perk for 2026, the one that makes your wallet work for you day in and day out: bonus categories and point multipliers. And mastering these is what separates someone who takes one big trip every 3 years from someone who can travel in style multiple times a year, all on points. So let's break this down. At its core, a bonus category is the credit card company telling you, hey, if you spend money on this specific thing like dining or groceries or travel, we're not just going to give you 1 point for every dollar you spend. We're going to give you 3 or 4 or sometimes even 5 points for every single dollar. This isn't a gimmick. It is the single most powerful engine for earning rewards, and it's built on a very simple premise. Banks want to encourage you to use their card for everything. They make a small percentage from the merchant on every transaction, so they want to be the card you pull out of your wallet every single time. To do that, they're willing to give you a much bigger slice of the pie when you spend in categories they know are popular and profitable. Think of it like this. Imagine 2 people, both spending $5,000 a month on their regular life expenses. Let's call them Casual Chris and Strategic Sarah. Chris uses a simple flat 2% cashback card for everything. It's easy, he doesn't have to think about it. After a year, he spent $60,000 and has earned a respectable $1,200 in cash back. Not bad. He can take a decent trip with that. But Sarah has a strategy. She understands the power of multipliers. She has a card that gives her 4 points per dollar on dining and groceries, another that gives her 3 points per dollar on all other travel like Ubers and hotels, and a third that gives her 1 point on everything else. Her spending is identical to Chris's. Let's say out of that $5,000 a month, $1,000 goes to dining and groceries, $500 goes to travel and transit, and the rest is general spending. Let's do the math, and I want you to really see this. For Chris, it's simple. $60,000 spent at 2% is $1,200. For Sarah, that $1,000 a month on dining and groceries at 4x points is 48,000 points for the year. The $500 a month on travel at 3x points is another 18,000 points. The remaining $42,000 of her annual spending at 1x points gets her 42,000 more points. Add it all up. Sarah has accumulated 108,000 points. Now you might think, okay, that's a lot of points, but what's that worth? If we value those points conservatively at just 1.5 cents each, which is a very achievable value when you transfer them, but more on that later, Sarah's 108,000 points are worth over $1,600. That's a full $400 more than Chris for the exact same spending. But here's where it gets crazy. If Sarah learns how to use those points for maximum value, transferring them to an airline for a business class seat, those same points could easily be worth $3,000 or even $5,000. Suddenly, Chris's weekend trip to Miami looks a little different from Sarah's week-long trip to Europe in a lie-flat seat. Same spending, different strategy. That is the power of bonus categories. It is the leverage that turns your everyday expenses, the coffee you buy, the gas you pump, the groceries you need, into a high-octane fuel for your travel dreams. So, how do you harness this power in 2026? It starts by understanding the main types of bonus categories. First, you have your fixed categories. These are the bedrock of most great travel cards. They don't change. A card might offer 3x on all dining forever, or 5x on flights booked directly with airlines always. These are fantastic because they're reliable. You can build a long-term strategy around them. You know that every time you go out to eat, you should use that specific card. No guesswork involved. The key here is to find a card whose fixed categories align perfectly with your life's biggest spending areas. If you're a family of 5 that spends a ton on groceries, a card that heavily rewards grocery spending is a no-brainer. If you're a consultant who is always on a plane, a card with a massive multiplier on flights is your golden ticket. Second, we have rotating categories. These are a bit more advanced, but the payoff can be huge. Cards with rotating categories offer a massive, usually 5x, multiplier on different categories each quarter of the year. For example, from January to March, it might be grocery stores and gyms. From April to June, it could be gas stations and home improvement stores. You typically have to activate the bonus each quarter, which is as simple as clicking a button in your online account. The challenge here is that it requires you to pay attention. You need to know what the current categories are and adjust which card you use accordingly. But the reward for that little bit of effort is a fire hose of points. Earning 5 points per dollar on gas for 3 months straight can single-handedly fuel a weekend getaway. And this brings me to a pro tip that separates the amateurs from the experts: the gift card method. Let's say the rotating category is office supply stores. You might think, well, I don't spend much on paper clips. But what do office supply stores sell? They sell gift cards. Gift cards for Amazon, for restaurants, for airlines, for Home Depot. So you can go to that office supply store, buy a $500 Amazon gift card using your 5x bonus category card, and you've just effectively earned 5 points per dollar on your next $500 of Amazon spending, even though Amazon wasn't the bonus category. This is how you strategically front-load your spending to maximize these incredible temporary offers. Now, looking ahead to 2026, we're seeing the rise of a third, more powerful type: choice categories. Instead of the bank telling you what the bonus categories are, they let you choose. Some cards are already doing this, allowing you to select 2 or 3 categories from a list where you'll earn your highest multiplier. This is a game changer for personalization. You're no longer trying to fit your spending into the bank's predetermined boxes. You're tailoring the card to fit your unique lifestyle. I predict that by 2026, this will become even more sophisticated. We'll see cards that allow you to change your choice categories monthly instead of just yearly, giving you incredible flexibility to adapt to your spending as it shifts throughout the year. Maybe you choose home improvement in the spring and travel in the summer. This level of customization is the future. Banks are realizing that a one-size-fits-all approach doesn't work anymore. They have so much data on our spending habits, and they're starting to use it to offer us products that feel like they were designed just for us. This is a massive win for the consumer. It means more points earned faster with less effort trying to remember a complex web of rules. The ultimate strategy, the one that people like Sarah use, is to build a small curated team of cards. You don't need 10 credit cards. You just need 2 or 3 that work together in harmony. This is often called a trifecta or a wallet system. You might have one card that is your champion for dining and groceries, another that is your go-to for all travel purchases, and a third that serves as a great catch-all for everything else, earning a solid flat rate on non-category spending. By using the right card for the right purchase every single time, you ensure that not a single dollar of your spending is wasted. Every transaction is optimized. Every dollar is a soldier working to earn you the maximum possible return towards your next adventure. It transforms spending from a chore into a strategy. You start looking at your expenses through a new lens. A trip to the grocery store isn't just about stocking the fridge. It's about getting 400 points closer to that hotel in Hawaii. Taking an Uber isn't just a ride. It's earning 3x points that will help pay for your flight to see family for the holidays. It gamifies your financial life in the best way possible, where the prize isn't some digital badge. It's a real-world, unforgettable experience. But what if I told you that earning the points is only half the battle? The real magic, the secret that unlocks those unbelievable first-class flights and presidential suites, isn't in how you earn the points. It's in how you use them. And that's where our number one perk, the undisputed king of travel rewards, comes in transfer partners. This is it. This is the single most powerful, most valuable, most life-changing perk in the entire world of travel rewards. Forget everything else you think you know. If you only remember one thing from this entire video, make it this. Because transfer partners are not just a perk. They are a cheat code for the game of travel. Imagine your credit card points, your Chase Ultimate rewards, your Amex membership rewards. Imagine they aren't just points. Imagine they are a master key. A key that doesn't just open one door, but can change its shape to open any door you want. That's what transfer partners are. Instead of being locked into your credit card's own clunky travel portal, you gain the ability to convert your points directly into the miles and points of dozens of different airline and hotel loyalty programs around the globe. And this is where the magic happens. This is where we separate the amateurs from the pros. The average person, let's call him Bob, earns 100,000 points. Bob gets excited. He goes to his credit card's travel portal, finds a flight to Hawaii that costs $1,000, and sees he can book it for his 100,000 points. He feels great. He got a free flight. He got a value of 1 cent per point. That's the baseline. That's the floor. But you're not Bob. You know about transfer partners. You take those same 100,000 points, and you see a world of infinite possibility. You're not looking for a $1,000 flight to Hawaii. You're dreaming bigger. You're dreaming of a lie-flat business class seat to Tokyo. The kind with the champagne service, the multi-course meal. The seat that turns into a bed so you arrive refreshed and ready to explore. You look up the cash price for that seat. It's $10,000. A completely absurd, unattainable number for most people. If you tried to book that through the portal like Bob, it would cost you 1,000,000 points. 1,000,000. But you don't do that. You do your research. You discover that American Express is a transfer partner with Virgin Atlantic. And you find a little-known sweet spot. Virgin Atlantic only charges 95,000 of their miles to fly round-trip in business class to Japan on their partner, All Nippon Airways or ANA, which consistently wins awards for the best business class in the world. Let me say that again. You take your 100,000 Amex points. You transfer 95,000 of them one for one over to your Virgin Atlantic account. And you book a $10,000 flight. Let's do the math on that. Bob got 1 cent per point for his flight to Hawaii. You just got over 10.5 cents per point. Your points were literally more than 10 times more valuable than Bob's. You both started with the same number of points from the same credit card. But you flew in a $10,000 suite in the sky and he flew in coach. That is the power of transfer partners. It's not about getting free travel. It's about unlocking a level of luxury travel that would otherwise be a complete fantasy. This isn't some fluke. This is the entire system. It's a world of what we call points arbitrage. You are moving your points from a place where they have a low fixed value, the credit card portal, to a place where they have a high variable value, an airline's award chart. And it gets even deeper. The key to unlocking this entire universe is understanding the 3 major airline alliances: Star Alliance, Oneworld, and SkyTeam. Think of these as massive global clubs. Star Alliance, for example, includes United, Lufthansa, Singapore Airlines, ANA, and Air Canada, among many others. Here's the secret. You don't need miles with all of them. You just need miles with one of them that has a good award chart. By transferring your Chase points to, say, United, you can book a flight on any of those Star Alliance partners. Transfer your Amex points to Air Canada's Aeroplan program, and you can book that incredible Lufthansa first-class flight to Frankfurt. Transfer your Capital One miles to British Airways, a Oneworld member, and you can book short-haul flights on American Airlines for a fraction of the points American itself would charge. You are no longer bound to a single airline. You have a master key to a global network of hundreds of airlines, and you can cherry-pick the absolute best deals from all of them. This same logic applies to hotels, and the value can be just as staggering. The undisputed king of hotel transfer partners is World of Hyatt. Chase is a 1-to-1 transfer partner with Hyatt, and this is, without exaggeration, a golden ticket. While other hotel programs have devalued their points into oblivion, Requiring hundreds of thousands of points for a decent room, Hyatt's award chart remains incredibly reasonable. You can find breathtaking 5-star Park Hyatt hotels in places like Paris, Sydney, or Milan that cost $1,200 a night, but only require 30,000 Hyatt points. So let's play this out. You could use 120,000 of your Chase points in their portal to book that one-night stay. Or you could transfer just 30,000 of those same points over to Hyatt and book the exact same room. You're getting 4 cents per point in value, which is astronomical for a hotel redemption. You just saved 90,000 points that you can now use for 3 more nights, or for that business class flight we talked about. This is how people take month-long 5-star trips around the world. They're not billionaires. They just understand this one simple concept. Furthermore, this perk acts as your personal insurance policy. Airline and hotel miles are a depreciating asset. Programs devalue them all the time with no warning. If you hoard all your miles with a single airline, say Delta, and they suddenly double the price of an award flight overnight, your miles are now worth half of what they were. You're crushed. But if you keep your points as flexible credit card points, in the Chase, Amex, Capital One, or Citi ecosystem, you are protected. You don't transfer them until the very moment you've found a great deal and are ready to book. If Delta devalues SkyMiles, who cares? You'll just transfer your points to Air France or Virgin Atlantic and book a Delta flight through them for fewer miles. You always have options. You are always in control. This is why we earn points on cards from the Big 4 transferable currencies: Chase Ultimate Rewards, American Express Membership Rewards, Citi Thank You Points, and Capital One Miles. Each has its own unique set of airline and hotel partners, its own strengths and weaknesses. Amex is the king for international premium flights. Chase has the golden ticket with Hyatt and solid all-around partners like United. Capital One has been aggressively adding new, unique partners, making them a serious contender. This single perk is the foundation of it all. It's the engine that powers every unbelievable travel story you've ever heard. It's the reason people can fly in Singapore suites, stay in overwater bungalows in the Maldives, and take their entire family to Europe in business class, all for less than the price of a single coach ticket. They're not just earning points. They are strategically deploying a flexible, powerful asset. They are playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. Transfer partners transform your points from a simple discount into a powerful currency, one that allows you to purchase experiences that money alone often can't buy. This is, without a shadow of a doubt, the #1 travel credit card perk for 2026 and beyond. It is the ultimate goal. So now you know the secrets. You have the full top 5 list, from the simple security of trip insurance to the world-unlocking power of transfer partners. But knowing the tools is only half the battle. The real question is, how do you build the perfect toolbox for you? How do you combine these perks into a cohesive strategy that matches your own travel dreams and spending habits? Because the perfect card for a solo backpacker is completely different from the perfect card for a family of 4. And building your personalized bulletproof strategy, well, that's the final and most important piece of the puzzle. So let's build it. Right now. Forget the idea of finding the one single mythical best travel card. That's a marketing fantasy. The real power, the secret that separates amateurs from pros, is in creating a system. A 2 or 3 card combination that works in perfect harmony, turning every dollar you spend into a direct deposit for your travel fund. Think of it like building a championship sports team. You don't just have one superstar. You have players in different positions, each with a unique strength. Your first player is the daily driver. This is your workhorse. Its only job is to earn an insane number of points on your biggest, most consistent spending categories. For most of us, that's groceries and dining. If you're spending $1,000 a month on food, a card that gives you 1 point per dollar is leaving an enormous amount of value on the table compared to a card that gives you 4 or even 5 points. This card might not have fancy lounge access or $100 Saks credit, and that's okay. Its job is to rack up points at lightning speed. Your second player is the heavy hitter. This is your premium travel card. This is the card that carries the perks we've been talking about. The lounge access, the elite status, the travel credits, the global entry. This is the card that makes the travel experience itself luxurious and seamless. You might not use it for your weekly grocery run, but you book all your flights and hotels with it to get 5x or 10x points and trigger those incredible travel protections. The annual fee on this card is an investment, and its job is to pay you back tenfold in value and experience. And for some, there's a third player, the specialist. This is your ace in the hole. It's a co-branded card with the one airline or hotel chain you use more than any other. You live near a United hub, Maybe it's a United card. You're a die-hard Hyatt fan? It's a Hyatt card. The specialist's job is to unlock brand-specific perks the other cards can't touch. Free checked bags, an annual free night certificate, priority boarding, or a faster path to the highest levels of elite status. Let's make this real. Meet Alex. Alex is a software developer in Austin, Texas. He and his partner love taking 3 or 4 domestic trips a year to visit friends and one big international trip. They're foodies, so they eat out a lot. Their strategy could look like this. For their daily driver, they get a card that gives 4x points on dining and groceries. They put every restaurant meal, every trip to Whole Foods, every Uber Eats order on this card. It becomes their default. They're effortlessly earning thousands of points every single month just by living their normal lives. For their heavy hitter, they choose a premium card with a big annual fee, but one that's based at the Austin airport and has a fantastic lounge. They immediately use the travel credit on a flight to see family, basically cutting the effective annual fee in half. They use the global entry credit to breeze through security, and the points they earned on their daily driver, they transfer them to this cards program because it has better airline partners for that big international trip they're planning to Japan. And for their specialist, Alex flies Southwest a lot for short-haul trips out of Austin, so he gets a Southwest card. It gives him a bucket of points every year on his card anniversary, and the free check bags for him and his partner save them over $100 on every single round trip. Do you see the magic here? The cards are working as a team. The daily driver earns the points. The heavy hitter elevates the travel experience and provides the best redemption options. The specialist saves cash and provides airline-specific perks. Alex isn't just earning points. He's executing a strategy. He's turning his brunch in Austin into a business-class seat to Tokyo. So how do you build your own system? It starts tonight. Not tomorrow, not next week. Tonight. I want you to do 3 things. First, become an archaeologist of your own spending. Open up your bank account and credit card statements from the last 3 months. Get a piece of paper or a spreadsheet and be brutally honest. Where is your money actually going? How much on groceries? How much on dining? How much on gas? How much on Amazon? How much on streaming services? Don't guess. Use the real numbers. This is your personal earning blueprint. This tells you what kind of daily driver you need. Second, become a travel visionary. Where do you want to be in the next 18 months? And I mean specifically, not just Europe. Is it sipping wine in a Tuscan villa? Is it seeing the northern lights from a glass igloo in Finland? Is it a family trip to Disney World where you stay on property? The more specific your goal, the easier it is to choose the right cards. A trip to Tuscany might mean you need points that transfer to Air France, while that Disney trip means you should be focusing on Marriott or Hyatt points for the Swan and Dolphin resorts. Your dream dictates your transfer partners, and your transfer partners dictate your heavy hitter. Third, and this is the most important step, commit to the process. This isn't a one-time decision. It's a hobby. It's a game. And the prize is seeing the world for a fraction of the cost. The perks we've discussed today, the lifestyle credits, the transfer bonuses, the elite status shortcuts, the companion passes, and the insurance safety nets, are the powerful tools at your disposal. But tools are useless without a plan. Your plan is to match your spending from step 1 with your dreams from step 2. You'll start with one card, probably the one with the highest sign-up bonus that aligns with your biggest spending category. You'll hit that minimum spend, collect your massive bonus of 60, 80, even 100,000 points, and then you'll evaluate. 6 months later, you'll add the next card to your system. You'll be strategic. You'll pay your balances in full every single month, because carrying a balance is the fastest way to destroy all the value you're creating. This is how you win. You stop thinking about credit cards as a way to buy things and start thinking of them as a system for generating experiences. You turn a boring necessity, paying for things, into the engine of your adventures. The landscape of these perks will shift in 2026 and beyond. Cards will change, benefits will be added and removed. But your strategy, your understanding of how to leverage your spending to fund your life, that will last forever. You now know more than 99% of people about how to travel the world using points and perks. You have the blueprint. The 5 key perks we covered are your North Star, guiding you to the cards that offer the most disproportionate value. And the team-based strategy is your playbook for putting it all into action. The only thing left to do is start. Start that audit of your spending. Start dreaming about that next destination. Because the difference between someone who says, "I wish I could travel more," and someone who actually does, is simply having a plan. And now you have one. So I have to ask you, which of these perks would be the biggest game changer for your travel style? Is it the lounge access, the elite status, the companion ticket? Let me know in the comments below. I'm genuinely curious to see what matters most to you, and I read every single one. And if you found this breakdown valuable, if it opened your eyes to what's possible, do me a massive favor and hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. We go deep like this every single week, breaking down the strategies that help you travel smarter, not harder. And as your first move, check out this video right here. In it, I break down the single biggest mistake people make when they redeem their points, and how you can avoid it to get double, or even triple the value on your next trip. Thank you so much for watching. Now go build your strategy.